is where the Shock want to be. They want to be playing this, we've used this term a bit, this neutral game. Super playing off to the left-hand side. He wanted the shatter. It is big. Now the Seoul Dynasty sure as heck better be awake. They got their bell rung.
The way they engaged in that fight though, Seoul, it seems like they didn't really have a gauge of how close Super was to shatter.
The Shock won a free fight, but then the Dynasty got a free pick. We'll see which one wins out. Super Earth Shatter. He gets marbled down and he's not able to pick himself up to protect himself from the self-destruct. Super also knocked down, but there's a lot of healing on the point there. Mock comes in with a sound barrier, slightly layered over the Transcendence, but that's fine. Self-destruct attempt here now from Zunba, but it doesn't catch anything except Chokyobin's mech in this round. Over almost as quickly as it began.
Yeah, that was real quick. They do get the Seoul Dynasty to use their rally here, so you'll have the rally for the Shock coming up soon. Sinatra getting very close to going down, but they keep him up.
Huge start from Illicit there. Sinatra was in position to get a couple people with his high charge, but he was interrupted. Now that self-destruct could be just as painful. Super taken down by Illicit now. The San Francisco Shock have to beat a hasty retreat here. They're going to lose more players. Munchkin is not going to let Sinatra get away.
To get into overtime here in a second, they're going to use the grab. The solo Super on the point. The Transcendence not fast enough to save it.
Exactly what is required against a Wrecking Ball. Just pick him out of the fight early, and you're going to save yourself a lot of heartache later. This could be dangerous now for Violet. He's got a repair pack as Marvel chooses not to follow up here. Zunba does though and loses his mech as a result. Munchkin sitting back on the point. He's got a lot of charge, even though he's been away from the fighting care of the barriers he's been giving to his teammates. J-Hawk just got smashed there. Super dropped him with a pile driver. Munchkin caught inside the Graviton, and Marvel will follow. The Shock come up with the goods here, but they had to dig deep. Goats with Hammond in there. All right,
Shock played on that as well.
Self-destruct. Oh, he's got two.
Yeah,
you don't have a shield to hide behind. If the Shock, this happens. And unfortunately, that might have cost them the round.
And they split, and Moth and the rest of the team have to split from different ways, so you don't have the speed boost to get some players out. And Super goes on to contest. He gets blown up immediately. You have Violet here just using Transcendence, trying to get back, but the boops, you know, from Marvel with the Primal Rage, and then you have Toby on the Lucio, just knocking people back.
Now, Chokyobin needed that Transcendence healing as well, but Violet was kept away from him by Marvel's Primal Rage, and the Seoul Dynasty now will clean things up here. Maybe took them a little bit longer than they intended, but they look much better when it comes to Winston in the 3-3.
Nerf this.
So now we're back to Reinhardt, but this time the Seoul Dynasty start well when they're trading this damage. Rascal, Violet's not going anywhere. Rascal gets taken down, and the Seoul Dynasty, man, they play forward. They play very aggressive with the speed boost.
It doesn't seem like a ton of a difference, but Seoul Dynasty, they kind of beat them to the punch. Toby actually, you know, knocked some players down.
Sound barrier now for the Seoul Dynasty, but it may not be enough to keep Marvel alive. Rascal, he wants to go further forward, but he needs to play safe. Chokyobin took a lot of damage there on the high ground, and he receives a repair pack. Rascal drops down from the rafters here, and he's able to carve off a couple players from Seoul, force them back, whereas Toby and Illicit are caught loitering on the points. It was Zunba that was knocked down at the end, and the sound barrier now for the Seoul Dynasty. They're encroaching on a Transcendence as well. They got all the support ult they need. Finally goes for the Transcendence first, but now it's expired, and now the Dynasty can get aggressive. They do. Super down, charged against the wall by Marvel. Bunny's low himself. Orb of Discord there helping. Nicely placed by Violet, and there's the cleanup. The San Francisco Shock break back in. And there's going to be a struggle here. Sinatra, he keeps his headset on because he knows he's got a game to play. Zunba de-suited. And that's going to be it. The Shock eke out a victory here on Nepal, but it wasn't easy, and it definitely sets the stage for our match of the week.
Nerf this.
Also helps you build up back towards your shadow. So here's going to be the rally. It's going to grab that comes down right away. No follow-up, so you can live through this.
That's bizarre.
Maybe the Shock can force more ultimates out.
I mean, the Shock didn't have to use a Transcendence when they were grabbed. That's a huge win for them. And now a sound barrier from the Seoul Dynasty. They're trying to get aggressive behind the support of. It doesn't look good. And the fire strike comes through from Super. Then he just puts the shield up. It's another day in the office. Super to step forward. Zunba on the right-hand side. He's a little bit out of position. And there's a grab, a shadow waiting here for Super.
You don't need it.
Marvel just gets crunched. And how'd the Shock get the freest
They have
fight
6 ultimates.
My ultimate is charging.
And you have a big shatter here from Super. Oh!
There it is!
Oh. Bro, like, you can't step out that far as the Rhine and, like, not have, the part that he's shielding, there's nobody there. You can't even have anybody stand behind there.
Absolutely smoked! But you notice he plays a part for the rest of his team. Oh, and listen! Keep that shield up, son! Or Haskell sends the shots ringing in. And that opening now with Marvel having gone down to Seoul Dynasty have to pack it in for this attack. Marvel, very spirited attempt at trading here with Super on the high ground. Seoul now drop down.
The difference
they leave Munchkin up there.
They don't fall for the bait here. The Shock don't invest one of these support ultimates early on.
And look, they just back
when
it
the
up.
rally comes through, they just back on out. Yeah.
And they got so much to work with now. Oh, Munchkin! The Graviton Surge eaten foot by Trichoven, and he's happy with that one. He hadn't had his breakfast anyway. He came in hungry. Marvel down. Jayhawk now on the point with the Transcendence, but the Seoul Dynasty are down to just 5. Man, they used both their support ultimates.
Time to raise my APM.
Огонь по готовности!
They back up behind their Reinhardt. Here comes that self-destruct now in the backside. Can they be protected by it? They can. Look at that. Moth comes in, gets himself a couple cheeky ones. Supercharges across the point. Munchkin tries to go for a desperation grab. And that tells you all you need to know about Seoul's mindset right now, man.
Yeah.
They were just trying to get something, find a way to try and move on to point A. But now, with 9 seconds left, they're not even going to get to touch it.
You know, map 1 is close. Map 2, not so much.
Pretty unclose, as you would say, man.
Super unclose.
And Matrix on the right-hand side just to dissuade any further forays. With the Seoul Dynasty, they got the message.
All this wicked!
Damn!
Огонь по готовности!
He's back in the fight.
Nemo.
Seoul does give up 1 tick here. As Super got onto the point, he actually tried to dive Jayhong on the high ground, but he got slept and then biotic grenaded. So,
I mean, Seoul as a team is a theory crafter's fantasy, right? All the things that they can do with this roster. That EMP that only connects with Super and Sinatra, so Violet is still able to go for the Coalescence and get fits. Platter has to try and remediate the situation here, but only 1 kill is yielded by the Barrage. He needs to find more. Fisher will assist. Drops on top of Moth and picks him up, and now Rascal, Violet, and Trichoven need to huddle together. The EMP comes out, though it catches Flatter. He cannot get airborne, but he's already sitting on the high ground. He has a perfect little podium to flood down rockets onto the point. Fisher now with the Primal Rage. Fade, it might be available for Violet, but it's only going to prolong the inevitable here. See what he can do with it. Super does get body grenaded, but he's not too worried about it now. Now that's an issue. Getting hacked on the low ground. He gets completely demolished by Seoul as they turn around, but Trichoven again helps save the day. Fitz is blown up. Jayhong is brought back to life, so the honor is still a factor. But a San Francisco Shock, they get a sound barrier. Trichoven, another kill in this fight. He's really putting the team on his back. He finds Jaxa and Flatter. Just walks the plank. He's done with this fight here.
Quadrigon awakening.
I'm standing my side on the point.
You're powered up. Nap time.
sorry, as Fisher's gonna use Primal Rage.
Discordant though, so low.
You're using that because you want to switch if you're Seoul Dynasty. I think you want to have Fisher play Reinhardt here towards the end, and then you have like the real Sombra come.
I'm ready to initiate self-destruct.
You have 13 enemies hacked, 8 enemies EMP'd, and 3 EMPs. That is
I mean, Matt,
not a great number.
ordinarily it was Michelle that we've seen on the song here, but Soul are going for a different look, and so far he just hasn't been that convincing. Super gets himself a quick double there as Sinatra saved the grab for later, and that's a shatter to remember. Fitz now going to try and step up. The Shock will push to the end of the map, and I have to say, after getting snarled up a little bit on point A, the Shock bounced back.
Огонь по готовности.
My ultimate is charging.
I know, there's a lot of people already.
I mean, Super in the shock, it's just a rough position to be in. The far rocket spamming down, no way to really access it. The Widowmaker
This
up on the high
sick.
ground. I mean, a lot to deal with.
Oh, get him! Vince finds Violent now up to the high ground. He's chilling. He's got the healing, of course, from Jexa. And the San Francisco Shock. Yeah.
Knocking down the objective.
If you don't win this fight, if you're Seoul, you gotta switch. Valkyrie, Minefield, EMP, Meteor Strike. I mean, a lot of ultimates here for Seoul.
Nano boost will
I
be
mean, you're
there
gonna have
as well.
everything. I mean, if you don't win this fight, you gotta switch.
Oh, they lost Splatter already! Violet picks him up and is it down to
They're
Michelle's
gonna
thinking,
arrest it.
I don't think I can do this anymore. He's forced to translocate out. That's brutal, but Fish is able to come back in. 2 kills on the Minefield, and with Flatter back in the skies, the Seoul Dynasty are restored to 6 players.
Area denied.
They have both of their key support ultimates, and this EMP can still be devastating, but again, a very quick first pick. When the Shock want to press W and go forward, they do it. And he has a barrage. Trichoven actually is taken down out of mech by the Meteor Strike. Nice little combo from Fitz and Al. That room looking very dangerous for the Shock if Flatter is able to free fire into it. A minute 36 on the clock, and the Dynasty are 1 fight away. Violet's able to respond back, but the San Francisco Shock have absolutely lost this fight. Now they need to stall. Pile driver on towards Trichoven. He's knocked up again by Fitz, who was looking for a rocket punch on towards Super. Meteor Strike now on towards the point, but big pulse bomb from Sinatra. It's going to hold them out a little longer. It's not going to win them the fight, though. Fisher drops in with a pile driver, finding Trichoven yet again. And Violet will just hold down the fort. That is a very annoying immortality field being placed down. And they have to get rid of that before they get rid of Violet. He's so hard to kill. Fisher going for the pile driver out of sheer frustration and finally finds the kill with a mine. The Seoul Dynasty, they get over the line, but I tell you what, the Shock know how to burn down the clock. That is for sure.
Powered up. وريهم قوتك.
Trichoven though, de-suited. That's not a good start for the San Francisco Shock, and Flatter now in position to do some work. Trichoven de-suited, trying to just get by with a bunny blaster, but Jayhong's been taken down. The high ground has always been the Shocks. So the Soldier 76 and the Ana both get completely shut down because they're left out at sea by the rest of Seoul. Set up and Moth! Well, he greets Fitz there with a blast of music to the face. And Michelle now is going to have to translocate out. He can walk back in, but that's about it. He knows the round is over.
Nap time.
Michelle, he gets hacked as well, and Rascal is in a very good position to get a lot of free and easy damage, but Super and Moth are cut down, and now with an amplification matrix, Rascal has to be very careful about where he stands. A halt there would almost have guaranteed a death. But it does look like Fish is playing on the low ground now. Fitz trying to pick off Sinatra. Flatter's able to get the extra damage from across the map, and now he's EMP'd. Sinatra back in the fight. Trichoven fights Jayhong, and there it is! The San Francisco Shock have finally found the answer here, and it comes off the back of, you guessed it, Sombra's EMP. That'll be a series locked up for the Shock now as they go 3-0. And you better believe your boy Tyler is happy.
Let them up.
Fire at will.
Very quickly, and some teams don't respond to that very well. That is filthy! Flatter Michelle Fitz all knocked down, but it's going to be a Soundbarrier coming out in response for the Seoul Dynasty. They're here to fight. Rascal's immortality field is taken down, and so is Super. Fisher with the fire strike just after the field is removed, and not too far behind. Seoul Dynasty respond to a big shadow by Soundbarrier and speeding straight forward. Great adaptation by Jexa, and the Seoul Dynasty run roughshod over the Shock. that makes you vulnerable. It means you have to turn your back on the main bulk of the enemy lineup, and there's Flatter getting picked off there. His shield just got worked out. Seoul were held in place so long because they were so worried about Choikobin sitting behind the mat. Sinatra, you will see Finn to loose the Graviton, surely. Self-destruct thrown in by Choikobin defensively here. It's going to force the Seoul Dynasty away, prevent it from following up. Then they get caught, they grab themselves. Super and Moth converge, and the Seoul Dynasty vaporize. Seoul Dynasty have Transcendence, they have an Earth Shadow, they must find an opening now. We're in overtime here. The Shock have that Sound Barrier and Transcendence. San Francisco really have everything they need. And Jayhawk is just trying to shoot at whatever target presents itself. Rascal and Violet going on a flank here with an air matrix. Michelle's forced to back her on the left-hand side. Now there's no Diva to protect the Dynasty. But they go for a grab anyway. Jexa has been removed. Michelle sitting in the back. He's forced to go for a self-destruct. But Rascal fans in the middle. 1v1 and he gets it. Then he can sit from the high ground. Sinatra pushes into his own grab and he's so charged up. The Sound Barrier from the Shock is just going to help them get aggressive. They can play recklessly now with a surplus of overshield, and the Shock. Perfect defense there. I mean, keep an eye on those Flatter Hassies as well. Fisher goes for the shatter. He gets 3. That's so gross. Fitter will be able to help the crew clean up, and wow, big difference trading in that Reinhardt battle. Fisher way ahead of Super in ultimate charge.
Good hold really this far here from Seoul Dynasty.
Fisher very low, Sound Barrier very timely. Jackson provides it to make sure that their main tank stays alive. The Shock also go for that though here, and now it's going to be a Transcendence from Jayhawk. Slight layering, but it works out. Michelle with the double in the Shock. Get back in your house.
Nerf this. I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
Oh, Super knocked forward there. It does expose Rascal and Mob the backline to the shadow of Fisher, but is there follow-up from the Dynasty? Maybe not. Let's see what's going to go down here as Vince looks like he went for a grab there. Choikobin really ate that one up, and now he's going to go down to the self-destruct, adding injury to insult. Sinatra has a grab of his own, and this is the Dynasty now trying to dig their claws in, but they're losing control. Right, they managed to get Michelle to back away. They go for the grab when they know Michelle is out of position. What a great response from the San Francisco Shock. They see a little opening, they go for it. Now Michelle's going to try and go for the self-destruct himself, but everyone from the Shock has pushed forward like only they can. And Flatter is discorded and knocked to the ground. Now the Brink's being picked off. Desperately, Fisher trying to keep hold, but Super meets him in the middle with a big charge. And now Michelle's going to get desuited, and that's going to be enough for San Francisco Shock. Choikobin is definitely
he was
our player of the match, man.
Yeah, I mean, we highlighted the Diva matchup at the beginning of the series, you know, where Zunba had played a good game against the Atlanta Reign the other day. Choikobin comes in, puts together a tremendous game on Diva. You know, he ate him with grabs. He played some Sombra as well. A new look for him. EMP was really crucial, and then winning here on Numbani, as I thought he had a very good series all throughout.
Yeah, got to be happy with that performance. Choikobin has, shown us to be, he's pretty much everywhere on that Diva pick, Matt. He's definitely up there in the rankings of Graviton Surges negated with Diva and also other ultimates. So he's becoming a better and better player